Hello and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where it is another busy day of Barca news. And we're going to be talking even about next season today, planning, preparation, everything that's going on at the club, along with Andreas Christensen and Ronald Araujo, their situations during this summer transfer window. We also have more rumours linking Barca to Rafael Leao that we need to cover, along with Nico Williams as well, with one particular report that we simply must discuss in detail, guys. It's all coming up for you. I hope you're going to enjoy it. Now let's do this. Because let's first of all kick off with those pre-season plans. And I've got to say, I've been excited about Barca's pre-season for about 6 months now. Genuinely thinking about what Hansi Flick can do with our team here. With this period of training, of drilling the players there into his system. We saw him last summer lay the foundations. And that was actually a shorter period of time, really. We had international tournaments. We had a few players joining late and all that kind of thing. This season, though, we will be straight down to business. And that is why I think it's a great decision here that Barca elected not to play an end-of-season friendly match, not to play any post-season games, because there's two reasons for that. Number one, it shows we are in a better financial position. The fact that we're not having to play those kinds of games after a long season, it shows we're not desperate for money like we have been in previous years, and obviously that's a really, really good thing. But two, Hansi Flick insisted upon it. You know, he spoke with the club there. He expressed how important it was to get these players rested, to make sure that we capitalise on the fact that we're not in the Club World Cup. We're not having to play a full tournament after the season is over. We want to make the absolute most here of this period, this rare period of rest that we have. And that means that when the players now arrive for pre-season, oh, they're going to be ready. They are going to get straight down to work. We're going to see double sessions, and it all kicks off on July the 13th. And I think that's the whole point there, guys. It's not actually very far away, is it? You know, it's not very long here until all of the players are going to be back in training and getting ready for next season, because from there, Barca will be heading off on a tour of Asia for pre-season. That will be the first time they've done that in 6 years. We will play there 3 matches in total across Japan and South Korea. And I've got to say, I'm really excited about this. I'm very, very much looking forward to that, because I think in Asia you get incredibly passionate fans, you know, absolutely amazing support they will have for Barca. And what we also see with that is they're often the ones who have to stay up until extraordinary hours just to watch Barca play in regular season games. So I think they more than deserve here to see Barca live and in person. So I'm really, really excited for that. But I just think we've got brilliant preparation planned here. I cannot wait to see what Hansi Flick is going to do. I honestly believe that we will build on his first season. I believe we haven't yet seen the best of Hansi Flick. We haven't yet seen the best of this team. And that, for every other club in the world, it's frightening. Which does then bring us on to talk about which players will be part of that team, which players will be crucial to those Hansi Flick plans. Well, let's start by talking here about Andreas Christensen. This is a situation I think has caused real debate amongst the Barca fan base, because we've spoken before about the fact that Deco would rather count on Ronald Araujo, that he doesn't really like Christensen too much. He would be happy this summer to accept offers from elsewhere for the Danish centre-back. But Hansi Flick, he would be much more open there to keeping Christensen if it was possible. But could he still be sold? Because I think what should be noted on that, guys, and particularly when you're thinking about Christensen's future right now, Barca may well listen to offers this summer. You know, there's nothing stopping them from doing that. But it still doesn't mean Christensen will go. He has to accept to leave the club. And he right now has 2 years remaining on his contract. It's going to be down to him to accept any departure. And I think right now, after missing so much of last season with those injury problems that really did hurt him, but to then come back and play as well as he did at the end of the season, I think he'll be really eager here, especially in pre-season, to show what he can do, to really prove himself to Hansi Flick, who already really likes him. You know, Flick values the calmness in Christensen's game. I think that's very important in Flick's system with the high line, to have somebody so calm like Christensen, to be able to read the game so well. He's very, very intelligent there in the way that he plays, and he's excellent with the ball at his feet, which is absolutely valuable too to Flick. It's not hard to see why he'd want to keep him around. It's not hard to see here why, if Christensen can be fit, he can be a very, very useful member of this squad. He's a very, very good defender, and along with that too, he's even versatile. We've seen him impress in a holding midfield position too. So I think right here, the club may be undecided on his future, they may be welcoming offers for him, but I think Christensen will feel that if he does dig his heels in, if he does stay, look, I want to stay, I want to fight, I want to be involved in this team, I think he knows he could end up playing, and he could end up playing a serious amount of football again, providing that he stays fit. Which then does bring us on to talk about Ronald Araujo, because again, it's all about really who stays, who goes, who can be valuable, who fits Hansi Flick's idea, who fits the style of play, and there has been lots of debate about Araujo. You know, can we get the best out of him in this system? He's another one, of course, who's had his injury concerns, he's had his injury problems, he's another one that needs to stay fit as well, and we are starting to hear in the media now, even despite Deco's backing, that doesn't necessarily mean Araujo's future is guaranteed to be at this club. It's very possible, I believe, that over the next few weeks, we start to hear more and more rumours about Araujo. Now, why is that? Well, after Araujo renewed his contract back in January, it was a long-term deal. At the time, we thought, okay, does that mean he's definitely staying? Has he pledged his future here to the club? Well, in that new deal, there was a release clause. That in itself, for me, we're going to talk about it. It's interesting that that even exists. And it means basically, for the first 10 days of July, in this summer transfer window, Araujo's release clause will stand at 65 million euros. And that means we are going to get rumours. There will be clubs right across Europe here looking at that situation. They will understand the clauses there. 65 million in this market. It's a very fair price. It's a very attainable amount there for a top club who wants to buy what is a great centre-back. You know, Araujo at his best, you know, when he's confident, when he's playing there with the kind of ability we know he has, he is a top centre-back. So I can see clubs definitely being interested, because after that period then is over in July, that clause will go up to 80 million euros. And I think right now, we don't really know what Araujo is thinking. We don't really know what his feeling would be. Say that release clause is met by a top club. You know, what would he choose to do? What would he be looking at right now? What would be the final decision? Because we know that back in January, he was actively thinking about his future. There was interest from Juventus. There was lots of rumours that Araujo could actually go there, that he could leave the club, that he wasn't really happy here. And I think the fact that there is a release clause in this new deal, I think it shows he's still undecided. If he were willing to stay at the club long term, there wouldn't be a low clause. And I think it exists not only for Araujo, but also for the club too. Because I think if that clause has met 65 million, they wouldn't necessarily be against that. Barca would probably welcome the extra funds. And is that even all? You know, is that the only possibility too? Because I think this morning, the rumours coming out of Mundo Deportivo, they're very, very interesting surrounding Araujo's future, because they actually say that AC Milan have proposed an outright swap deal. They would like to receive Ronald Araujo, and in exchange, they would offer Rafael Leao. So could potentially here we be talking about a swap deal, Araujo out, Leão in, and that apparently is what AC Milan would like to do. And I think first of all, let me just say, guys, swap deals are tough. You know, in football, it is very difficult and very complicated to get these to work out, because obviously so much has got to happen. It's not just about agreeing one deal, one agent there, one player, one wage. It's about everybody, you know, sort of fitting together, everything aligning. So they are complicated. That's why they don't usually happen. But what do you make of that rumour? Because the one thing I would say is, similar values, because sometimes in swap deal rumours you think, well, that player is not really equal to that one. That's not really fair on one side. But actually this one, Araujo, Leão, I would say similar quality, similar obviously value-wise, obviously different positions, but I think in terms of the fact that both clubs may be getting something that they want. You know, Barca, it's no secret, we are looking for a left winger. Now, Leão has not come into the conversation much recently. You know, we've been talking a lot about Diaz. We're now talking very, very heavily about Nico Williams, as we're going to in just a moment. Leão has been on our radar, though. We know that Joan Laporta is a big fan. That is also no secret at all. And quite clearly here, AC Milan would like to receive a top centre-back. However, I think it is interesting when you look at our centre-backs right now, when you're lining them all up, the options that we have. We've got Pau Cubarsí, you've got Inigo Martinez. Now, in my opinion, guys, we had to rely too much on both of them last season. They were outstanding, particularly Inigo. At 34 years old now, he was extraordinary, but I think we overplayed both of them, especially Pau Cubarsí. He was very, very tired by the time the season was coming to an end. You've got Eric Garcia, but at the same time, he's likely now to be deployed as a right-back, along with Koundé there. So he's not really going to be too much of a centre-back option. So I think when you're looking at our options here, our depth, what is your thoughts on that there? Is there enough? Is there enough quality to say, okay, we're happy to sell, we're happy to get rid of one of our top centre-backs? Because I personally do not believe we should be letting Andreas Christensen go. I know that he's had fitness concerns. I'd hope that he'd be available more often, but I would certainly not be saying that we could let him go. And then even on Araujo, you know, say you do swap him, say you do get rid of him, is there enough quality there? We talk a lot about quality depth. We talk a lot about the amount of games that we have to come. Is there enough, in your opinion? If we were to get rid of a centre-back, would that be okay? However, guys, we do have to move on to the very latest news on Nico Williams to Barca. Is this a deal that's going to happen? Can it happen? Do the club want it to happen? Well, right now in the media, there are so many different reports. And what I want to talk about today is one in particular, because the media are saying that within the club, there is one particular concern when it comes to Nico Williams joining the club, joining this Barcelona squad, because apparently Barcelona fear that given Nico is such good friends with so many members of this current Barca squad, they fear that by adding another player to that friendship group, that we could be heading in a bad direction, that we could be heading towards another situation like Club de Amigos, which of course you will remember from years gone by. Now let's think back to the Club de Amigos situation, thinking back there to some of the biggest disappointments at Barca. There was often criticism in the media and of course in the fan base here that there was friendship groups within the squad that were effectively tearing the team apart, that had a really negative effect on results, performances and the success of the team. And look, I don't deny that happened. Club de Amigos was real. It was something that existed within Barca. It was a culture that was allowed to be built up. And that is something that you want to avoid. But let me just say this, with regards to Nico, with regards to this current Barca team, there is only two reasons why before Club de Amigos was formed. And the two reasons were this. Number one, you had an unbelievably weak president. Bartomeu is the worst president the footballing world has ever seen. And what he also did was hire a string of incredibly weak coaches too, who didn't stand up to him and did not stand up to the players. So what you had there was a spineless core at the club. And that is why Club de Amigos was able to form. It was down to the spineless leadership. You allowed there a group of players to believe they could do what they liked because they were allowed to. They were allowed to run the club basically in the way they saw fit. Maybe because they thought they had to, because nobody else was running it either. But the whole point is that now, when you look at this Barca team, when you look at this presidency, we do not have either of those things. I would like to believe that we have a very strong, very firm president in charge. Somebody that takes on the decisions that he has to, whether they're tough, whether they're good, whether they're bad. Laporta will make a call and he will stand by it. He won't bow to any player's demands. And you definitely have a very, very strong coach, somebody there with real leadership and real personality. Do you honestly believe that Hansi Flick would allow player power to infect the dressing room there. Do you honestly believe that he would allow that? He wouldn't. He is a strong character. He is a natural-born leader. And that's why this is nonsense. The media can talk here. The club can talk about player power, about Club de Amigos, about concerns about Nico. If we don't sign him, please don't blame it on that. That is not an issue. That is not a concern and shouldn't stand in the way of any deal happening. And I do just have to say, guys, that honestly, I have been waiting all day. I've been eagerly awaiting the official announcement of Joan Garcia. Now here, as we stand, it hasn't happened yet. I was really hoping that it was going to. I was going to include it, of course, in today's video. We were going to talk all about that, but it hasn't happened yet. So all that I'm saying is, now I've done this video here, I've done a big video as well over on MORETALKFCB. So if the announcement happens right after I've uploaded this, well, you'll probably hear from me tomorrow on that now. But I'm very excited about it. I'm really looking forward to when Barca eventually make it official. But thank you indeed, guys, for tuning in, both here and over on MORETALKFCB. I really appreciate the support, and I will see all of you very soon. Thanks for watching, but until next time, as always, Vejka, El Barça.